Hey everyone! Today I want to talk to you about the Spyderco Smock that I just got. This will be about a week or about 2 weeks ago. I got this through KnifeJoy.com. This is their exclusive version of the Smock. So it has the polished black G10 handle scales, and then the super sweet steel upgrade. This is the CPM 20CV. And I gotta say, honestly, this is an amazing version of the Smock. Now, I do want to say that I haven't ever possessed the original Smock with the carbon fiber scales, and I believe it's like the S30V blade. And so I don't have really that knife to compare to. But honestly, when the original Smock, the Spyderco Smock first came out, I was drawn to it a little bit just because of how funky this knife looks. But I love just really interesting and unique design. So I was really drawn to that original Spyderco Smock version. But that weird carbon fiber like overlay with that G10, it just did not really call out to me. And I love S30V steel, so that's not really an issue, but really that weird kind of carbon fibery look, just it wasn't really appealing to me. So I never really pulled the trigger on the original Spyderco Smock. So when I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, I saw this version on Instagram, and I was like, what, dude, that looks so sweet. And so I found out that it was a KnifeJoy exclusive, and I picked one up. And I am so glad that I picked up this Smock, this variation, because I think this is honestly one of my favorite Spydercos. I've had a lot of Spydercos in my knife journey. Currently, I have the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And I think that is the only Spyderco I have, but I've had the Delica, the Endura, I had a lot of different Spydercos, but I think honestly this Smock is like one of my favorites. I just love this really cool compression lock, button lock thing. It's a super just fidgety knife. It's really fun to play with. It feels really good in hand. I mean, the action just feels good. I don't know if you know what I mean when I say that. It's just the experience of the knife just coming out and then going back in. It's just so smooth. And I know that when Spyderco was first kind of playing around with the ball bearing pivot system, I think the first Spyderco knife was the that came with that ball bearing thing was the Mantra, I think. But I know there was just a lot of issues with it, with the racetrack just being deformed, and it just like the action was super gritty, and just people didn't really like it. But what I love about Spyderco is that they just never rest on their laurels. They're always looking for ways to improve. And honestly, this bearing pivot that they put in this Smock, it is amazing. It's so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. And maybe it's the bearing pivot with that compression button lock, but man, this is like a marriage made in heaven. I can't say just good enough things about how they really executed this knife. It's so amazing. I love this polished G10. It just has this very premium feel. It feels really good. It's slick in the hand, but it feels really solid. It feels good. It looks really good. It feels like a Smock that's like dressed up in a black and white tuxedo. You know what I'm saying? It just feels just amazing. It's amazing. I love how Spyderco does their hollow grind on this knife. It is really nice. You can see those grind lines. I personally love grind lines. I love when I could see it. It just has like that industrial kind of that metal look. But they did the hollow grind so well on this knife that it just cuts. And it doesn't have a super thin blade stock. If you can see, if I compare this Let me try to compare this with the paramilitary 2. And you can see it's, maybe the paramilitary 2 is a little bit thicker, but, despite that, this hollow grind makes this such a great slicer. It cuts so well. I love it. And yeah, everything about this knife is done really well. Something that I really like about this I don't know what you call this, like I don't think it's a front flipper, because a front flipper would entail that you do it this way, but I love how this just fits into the overall lines of this knife. Nothing sticks out, everything is just streamlined, everything's really compact. It's just really slim, in the pocket. One thing that I did notice when I first got this knife was, I saw this pocket clip, and you see how high this pocket clip rides up, and I honestly thought it was going to be an issue, but when you have it in hand, you don't feel that at all. It really just kind of molds into this, the bend of your palm. So it fits right in. And that's what I love about Spyderco. They just think about these things. And I don't know if they had like a super big discussion about how this pocket clip is going to fit in the hand, but I do know that Spyderco's, they really do prioritize performance and ergonomics, right? So a lot of their knives, case in point, this paramilitary 2, these lines right here, it just really just molds into the palm of your hand. It feels really good, and I think just Spyderco does that really well. They want to make sure that the end user is going to enjoy the knives that they're using. That's not only going to cut really well, but it's going to feel really good in the hand. And this Smock, it does that. Now I gotta say, I've heard a lot of comments saying how one of the drawbacks of the knife was this this choil with this blocky frame that doesn't really feel like like this. I think this is how the default position is, but a lot of people are saying that the blade, right, it kind of is far away from your handle, so the interface is you got like almost like an inch, maybe an inch of a quarter gap between that blade and your hand. But honestly, in real use, I haven't really found that to be an issue. I really don't notice it. I think it's aesthetically, yeah, it looks kind of weird, right? Because that blade edge is like really far from the handle. But in performance, when you're actually using this knife, it doesn't really feel that bad at all. It doesn't feel like my hand's too far from the edge of the knife. I know this choil thing, people have been saying, oh, it's not like a usable choil. I get that, because it does, that sharpened edge goes all the way to the end of that choil, so it is sharp, definitely. And so if you're not careful, you could cut yourself if you're using that as a choil. But like also most people mentioned, that choil is really to accommodate that button lock mechanism. But you could, if you do have small skinny fingers, you could use it as a choil. But I think most people are going to be using it like this or like this. I do know that it does feel a little bit blocky with that, that pointer finger resting on that blocky part of the frame. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, to me, this feels really good in hand. If I do this grip, I could feel that blocky frame kind of like starting to kind of dig into that portion of my hand, but not a big deal, right? I love how they've really the edge of this the spider hole is kind of smoothed out. It's not super sharp. Yeah, there's really nothing on this knife that's just like sharp except for that choil part. But yeah, everything just feels really smooth. It feels like really thought out. They executed this knife super well. So if you're like me, where you saw the original Spyderco Smock and it just didn't speak to you because of that that carbon fiber overlay scale thing, then I really highly recommend getting the KnifeJoy Exclusive. You get that really slick polished G10 handle with an upgraded blade steel, and it's a perfect combination. I think Spyderco should just make this Smock like this variation. you know, make that as like their default, because this is such a good combination. So yeah, I really highly recommend it. If you already have the original Spyderco Smock, man, go ahead and grab this one as well, because I think there's enough of a variation, there's enough of a difference for you to really appreciate those subtle differences, right? And as you know, as a knife nut, you know, I don't know. I like blade steels. You know, I like different types of blade steels, and Spyderco is so good with, you know, just experimenting with different blade steels. And I'm starting to see them come out with a lot. Well, not a lot, but I'm starting to see them come out with knives that has the CPM 20 CV steel. I think the new the Watu came out with that. I think some of their flagship models have this 20 CV steel. And yeah, but I don't know if Spyderco is gonna start making more of their knives in this 20 CV steel, you know, variation. But man, if they do, I think it's like a big welcome. You know, but you know what, Spyderco, they do their S30V, man, so well. You know, honestly, in real life use, I don't know if you will be able to tell a huge difference. But you know, like knife nuts go, you know, we like our steels, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I really highly recommend picking one of these up if you're able to. Even if you have the original Spyderco Smock, this is such a sweet knife. I love it. I mean, I could spend all day just flicking this in and out. Like, you could also Spidey flick it. You could kind of slow roll it open. What else? Ooh, I think I nicked my table. What else? You could kind of use your thumb to flick it open. I can't. Oh, okay, I could use my this finger to open it. But yeah, like you could even use your pointer finger to open it. I can't do it right now, but yeah, it's a very fun knife to play with, and it's even a better knife to use and to hold in hand. And so yeah, go ahead and get yourself one. I think it's really well worth it. And the awesome thing about it is it's the same price as the original Spyderco Smock. I think it's like $175 or something like that. So with that same price, you get I think, in my opinion, a better looking handle scales and a really cool steel variation. So yeah, go get yourself one. I believe only KnifeJoy.com has it, because it is exclusive to that dealer. So yeah, go ahead and grab yourself one. All right, take care.